What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see right behind me, we have our FD, and well, we want to get the dash out, so let's start that. Because this car was so taken apart, you know, it's like, what do I got to take off to get this working? And what I could see here, normally there are these 3 bolts, go bolt down in there on either side. Then we have 2 bolts here holding it in. I believe there's a bolt on top of there that's got to be held in. I think there might be one under the dash. I'm not exact, or under the glove box. I'm not exactly sure, but once that comes off, as you see, it's so close to the emergency brake. You gotta take, we'll just unbolt the emergency brake, flop it down. I think there's like 3 or 4, maybe 3 12 millimeter bolts for that, and then we'll see if we can get it slid over out the passenger door without having to take the steering wheel off. Let's check it out. Here's the emergency brake. Yep, we have 1, 2, 3. You can see this one's already halfway taken out. These don't even look like the original bolts. So it makes me wonder, really, what am I gonna find underneath or behind? Because this dash is really nasty and it clearly has been taken out before. All right, these bolts are off from the e-brake. Now to get the 4 here, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. Both side bolts have been taken off. Now we'll take off the one up here. Well, I went to try to take this bolt off. There is no bolt there. So, looking at pulling the dash, and it definitely feels like it's still connected in here. So let's see if there's any bolt back in there. Okay, this makes complete sense. The 2 steering column bolts are bolted onto, obviously, this cross support. I move that, the whole thing moves. So I need to take those 2 off. So the steering column is off of this cross support, and being that I'm used to, you know, my other car, that stays in the car and the dash can pull out. This pulls out with the dash. But with the steering column, I mean, it drops really low, and then this thing looks like it'll pull right out. So let's see if I can get to the other side and try to assist it in coming out. Don't know how much I could do with one hand, but I'm curious if there's any mouse traps or not mouse traps, but mouse droppings, things like that. Doesn't look like I could get it out with one hand, so let me put this down and get it out. So those 2 bolts definitely were the issue. There's another long wire connectors here. They have some connectors down there that you could take off, but those are quite long, so you can pull that out. The issue I'm having here are some on the driver's side, and it looks like there's these connectors right there that are being a real pain of getting off. So maybe I can get them off of the actual bracket to give me a little more room. Also, don't forget the hood latch cable. When you lift it up, you can, you know, spin it out, get that off, but then there's the connector right there. You need to get it off so you could slide it down. That might give it a little more room to get to those connectors over there. All right, so those 2 plugs that I had over there help it come all the way out. And the last two we need to get, so this whole thing comes off. So those two there. As you can see, this looks cracked, missing the center and the right piece. I have to check the other dash, see if it has it. If it does not, I have to buy a new whole one of those. So let's go ahead and get this dash out. Also want to clean the whole thing up. The entirety of the interior is almost out. We do still have the headliner, as well as, I guess, the sun visors. So we're going to get the sun visors off, and we're going to do that by loosening or taking off these covers. Should have a couple screws. These should come off on both sides. Work on getting the center console or the center dome light off, and then, you know, the hood liner should just pop and snap all the way off. One thing to note on these when they come out is there is a holder, I guess a placement holder, so it doesn't just spin when you have it and it goes through, you know, that hole. So if you're looking at buying a replacement or something like that, you know, make sure that this piece is still there. It'd probably still work, you know, if it was cheap enough. You could screw it in, but it's going to want to slide on you, especially if you're, you know, tugging on the actual visor itself. But for that, so I know that I don't lose it, I'm just going to hook it on there and then put those in a box. Now, I don't know, I've already pried this a little bit. I don't know if they're supposed to be screwed in or if it's just natural. I mean, the way these are made, that seems natural, but these two little holes, I can't really get a good look at yet. They make me wonder if maybe this was the actual liner was supposed to be screwed in or something. When I get it out, I'll take a look closer to see actually what those holes are, or if they were, I mean, it doesn't look like there are any pins or anything that should have gone stuck in there, so I don't know. But let's get these electronics unhooked and get this off. And that was quite simple. These were just kind of hidden under, you know, under. You pull them out and obviously it comes right off. So it's about time to take the headliner out. I don't really know what goes in there. Maybe it's a dome light that I'm missing. I gotta check out another RX7 so I can see exactly what is going on. So you need to remember this kind of little plug. You take that off, and this should be able to pull out. If you have a sunroof and it has the liner around the edge of the sunroof, put that or pull that off first. I end up kind of pulling the headliner out, and that came out kind of with it, but it ended up, I guess there's a metal clip that goes inside with it, and that got kind of bent up and messed up. So I'll probably want to get another one of those, but I'll want it black instead of tan, because I believe I'm going black. Might as well let the secret out of the bag. But here we could see how the routing of the sunroof wiring is. Also, there's this centerpiece that holds, that's where it holds the dome, the map light and stuff like that. That piece over there, and as you see it here, I'm guessing that kind of pulled it. Let me show you, not upside down. Might have pulled it, messed it up a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. This also will need to get recovered or refurbished or make a new one. I'm not sure how they would do that. Have to talk to somebody about that. So looking a little bit closer at this piece, there's a bolt. It looks like it's holding it together, so I probably screwed up. This is probably supposed to be held in by the headliner, and that helps when you screw it up, hold the whole headliner up in the front. So yeah, that's one mistake we learned. Now, I don't want to take the sunroof off yet because, well, I'm not ready for the full body work and paint and stuff like that. And I mean, a lot of moisture and stuff like that, rain and stuff like that will get in there and stuff like that and stuff like that. So we'll leave that on there for now. I'm gonna take that off, and then I guess I'll put it on there so it looks like, well, I remember where it goes. And then we'll look at getting this HVAC equipment out. To take note of the wiring. Okay, these wires come around here and go over across there. While it looks like that's starting to rust a bit. Is it rusting on the other side? Rusting there as well, which does not look that good. So when we take this out, we're gonna have to, I guess, figure out how to treat that, because I don't want that to keep continuing. But I believe that's the drain. It's supposed to come all the way through. It goes all the way down and then back and then outside the car. So if it pulls up at all, it leaks through. So we might, gotta get this open, we might have a little rust issue in these corners that we have to deal with. So maybe I'll try hooking up some power to the switch, plug it into the switch, see if I could get this open, see what happens. In order to prepare to take the door off, or be able to get the door off, I took the sub harness, the door sub harness, I guess. It'd be plugged into this big white plug right back here. It's held in by this waterproof grommet, and then this really tight plastic waterproof grommet. I kind of wanted to stick it through, but it's really tight, and I don't want to end up fraying the wires trying to pull it out. But if I end up taking these connectors off here, get these off, and then disconnect these, this sub harness will all come out. Again, it goes probably without saying, these are 25-year-old clips. They are hard and brittle. Looks like these even might have melted a bit, but when I went to take this off, it just broke into a bunch of pieces. That is the sub harness. I got both screws off. On one side, you can see it's a nice and short screw. Then the other side has this really long screw, and this does not look stock, but I'm gonna check the other side. This looks something that was forced in and not exactly the same size, so I might have to re-tap and thread that base down there. And now that we got it off, it comes out, you pull the wires for it out, and then it actually might be, because look here, that one screw, let me get it down there, that one screw, the small one goes there, The large one looks like it goes all the way through and holds it onto the door as well. But we have this screw to get off, and then this base will come off, and then we'll move to the passenger side. That was really quick. It's a really short screw as well, and then you can see all this build up. Now I do have, or it might be a good idea to get a new outside window door sill. As you can see, this one is not in horrible condition. Probably clean it up with some trim cleaner, but I am actually going to get a new one. That just kind of pulls out, it looks like. Huh. Well, we'll try it. I don't know if I want to pull getting that out quite yet, just because on this side of the garage, carport, whatever, is open, and I'm not ready for water to be pouring down in there. I'll probably put a little bit of tape over that just to keep that covered. A couple things I noticed about the passenger side versus the driver's side. One, and this door is gray and the passenger side mirror was gray, so it's probably the original mirror. The one on the other side was gray with a white door, originally red, so I think that was put on later. But the two bolts that hold the main mirror in, as you can see, one was short and one was a little bit longer, but still, black one, and then it was shorter and has a thin, a closer tread or thread pitch. So these look like the original, as well as the one here holding the base into the door. And also there is like a little gasket, this little rubberized gasket, and I don't remember seeing that on the driver's side, one. So that, it should have been that easy, but the other one, whoever, the guy I got the car from, put the mirror on the door and used the wrong screw. So now the thread pitch into the door, I believe. Yeah, the thread pitch into the door, it's gonna be messed up. So I'm gonna have to fix that.